Hello. I've been building this chicken coop for about 2 weeks. It's from the AnnaWhite.com website. It's the A-Frame Chicken Tractor. I've only been working on it afternoons and weekends because I work, so it's taken me quite a while, but it's been a lot of fun to build, and if you have a lot of leftover fencing, it makes great cladding for it. So I hope you'll enjoy this video. This is my process. As in all DIY processes, you tend to improvise and make changes along the way. So this is not exactly the design from that website, but it's pretty close. Alright, so we played this in fast motion. I did some talking here, but these are some of the tools you'll need to build the coop. Some nice decking screws, a rounded file with flat end, chisel, hammer. Of course, tape measures, knives, pencils, and the speed square was really handy getting those angles cut. Yeah. And then, of course, safety. You gotta have your gloves and goggles and ear protection for most of this, just so you don't hurt yourself. So that's the complete set. Here's Liam trying to help me we already have the walls built. We did lap joint them, or we inset some of those. So Liam was I called him my 12-year-old clamp, and he would come around and help me clamp things while I was cutting and drilling and getting things put together. Don't have any sawhorses. I really would love some sawhorses, but these metal lawn chairs worked really well for the whole project. Just pre-drilling some of the holes for the bottom. Last couple of pieces on the bottom to keep it as a triangle. I think all these were supposed to be 30 degrees, and the top was a 60-degree angle if you're keeping track. And those came in pretty well. There's Liam clamping it all together for me. Pretty much none of my cuts were perfectly smooth, so up here in a minute you'll see. Didn't quite line up. This was Liam's favorite part, just holding things and waiting for me to drill them together. Yeah, there's a bit of a gap. You can't quite see it, but there's a bit of a gap there. I cleaned up with the rasp. It's probably not a big deal. It was more just for my peace of mind that I did that. Yeah, and the round end was really useful if you want to remove a lot of material quick. You just use that round end and then clean it off with the flat end to smooth it out and kind of even it out. But that round end, I mean, you can gouge away the big chunks that you didn't want to have in there. I think we got it cleaned up pretty good here. Yeah, it was much better than it was before. Then we went ahead and started drilling. So this project took us, better part of a couple of weeks because I was just working on afternoons and weekends. But you could probably do it in a long weekend if you had all day, all weekend, and you had all the materials ready to go. Here I'm getting those 30-degree angles set. It's pretty fun to learn how to use, for me it was relearning how to use. I hadn't used a speed square in so long that I had to freshen up on YouTube and look at a couple of videos to remind myself, how do you do a 30-degree angle in? So there's the 30-degree. And so pretty much everything was either 30s or 60s. So made things kind of easy. And then just getting your lengths perfectly. And that was just trial and error. Just put the board up there and mark it off with your pencil. and then pre-drilling with, I did both at once or two at once there, so that then I'm drilling one hole through the ends of the boards, but I'm going into the next board. That way I have kind of pilot holes for the next board, so I can just a little bit of time saving. This is Liam's filming this section, I think, and probably here too. This is probably Liam filming. Putting in the middle. This is the decking for their coop for the upstairs part of the house. So the chicken floor is going to be resting on that. I built these little handles on the end, about 6 inches overlap there, and then on the other end there's a 6-inch overlap that we left kind of rounded off to be kind of skids so that we could drag it around the yard. I'm probably going to end up putting wheels on it because it's pretty heavy. I mean, I can drag it around, but it's not great fun. I'm just pre-drilling the flooring holes. And Liam's helping me film and hold up the board while I'm setting in the floor joists, I believe you might call those. And there we are finishing off the painting, and then we got the door cut. We reused the plastic wrapping that the plywood came in, and we just used that as waterproofing. So now we got a nice waterproof door. I'm going to cover that up with some old fencing that I have later. But for now, that's your waterproof door, and then for the other side, did the same thing. Still got some of that plastic waterproofing left over. I might use that for something else, but I like to try and reuse as much as I can. So that's like a free waterproof layer that we got there. And this had to be specifically cut because nothing was perfectly square in this, so I had to flip it over, as there was definitely one end was a little bit fatter than the other. Tacked it all down. That side was nice and easy. I mean, that side, nothing moves on that side, no hinges. It's just had to be waterproof. Here's the hinge work. That was a little bit trickier. I forgot to put some shims in there. Had to eventually go back and kind of had to take that off again and redo that. But if you put some shims in there first, even some pennies or a couple of quarters, makes it easier to get your gap right. Because that was pretty tight the first time, and so I had to redo that. Put in the chicken wire with just a staple gun, and then on the corners and a couple times I'd go over with nails and bend over some nails. Here's Liam practicing hammering. Those boards were really bouncy. So I just left, we only put a floor in on half the coop, and then the other half we left open with just chicken wire beneath. So that other section there we're going to just cover with chicken wire so that poop can fall down as they're perched up there. Here we're getting closer. It's getting to be a storm. We had a couple of storms blow through while we were building this, as everybody working together, getting some finishing touches done before, I think that night the rain did come down. But it was nearly waterproof by the end of this day. But we still ended up covering it with the tarp just to give all the paint and sealant a little bit longer to dry. That was finishing off the chicken wire from the inside on those ends. Yeah, so there's the next day was in the morning, I think, just starting to get some of that fencing, my old fence. was behind my shed, and so that was perfect little siding. That's going to go over all of the plastic wrap. And yeah, the one side I'm leaving open for ventilation purposes. Here's just cutting some of that fencing. So it's pretty old stuff, but I believe it's cedar. Should give us a few good years. That was just a gratuitous slow-mo shot for sawing. That was kind of fun. Just experimenting with slow-mo. This is the final build, I think. Yeah, so that's the bucket we haul the baby chicks inside at night with in. And then here's the door. The hinged door, that is. So this one hinges down to... We just keep the babies up here during the day. When it's warm enough, they stay outside and have a little bit bigger area to play in. That's going to be the roost up there, or the stick to play on. I've got the door sealed right now so the big chickens can't get up right now. Oh yeah, and under there is the chicken wire. I've got it boarded up right now. Just odds and ends of boards that I'll probably take out if it gets really hot during the summer. This end I nailed up on the inside with a few nails and staples. I've got a kind of a double wall going on here. This is the outside wall to try and make a little bit of insulation. So that's a double layer of that old fencing I've got with a little bit of air gap in between. And then the seams aren't lined up, so one board overlaps the other board. The teenager chickens are down there. None of them are laying yet. It's still what? Oh yeah, are they a month old or so? Maybe this side, a little bit of ventilation, and then some 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch gaps. I'm a little worried I might want to go over that with chicken wire. We'll see. I feel like that'd be pretty safe. It's smaller gaps than in my chicken wire. My chicken wire is 1 inch gaps. I'm a little worried about that, but got just a couple of pivots there to pull out, and then this door kind of slides out. You know, there's a pivot, the bottom and top. And then there's the ramp that Liam built. The chickens are using it pretty well. Sometimes they're still sliding on those longer sections, but they like to practice flapping their wings. We've got a tiny door cut now. We might expand that door if they get too fat. Here they come on out. There's the handle again for lifting and dragging it around the yard. And then again, the little skids down there. Making that round just kind of helps it from catching on the grass. And there's the chickens. Yeah, so that's the whole build. Yeah, I don't do this kind of stuff every day, so it definitely took me longer than I'm sure a pro would probably whip this out in a day or two. This took me probably the better part of a week or two, just working on afternoons and evenings and weekends. Yeah, so that's the whole coop. There's Kinkajou and the chickens. So far he's been pretty good to them. We're definitely only out there with him when the chickens are out. And the babies right now are getting their run of the lower part of the coop, and we're keeping them. They've been introduced a few times, and they're starting to get along. Most of the chickens are nice to the little chicks here. So thanks for watching, and yeah, there's lots of great resources online for where you can get plans for this kind of a coop. Here's the babies again, and I'll just thank you again for watching and let you listen to some of these chicks because they're pretty darn cute.